Well, good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this morning I've headed to a famous historical landmark, Killiecrankie, and the Garry Bridge. So join me and let's see where this journey takes us this morning. Well, as I walk over the Garry Bridge, there's a wee bit of a sunrise kicking off over the trees there, although there's too much cloud probably for it to make a big difference, but I've got 10 minutes before the sunrise happens. I'm just walking over just so you can see why I'm here, one of the reasons why I'm here, and it's absolutely beautiful. I think I'm just catching the end of autumn here, because this would have been mega vibrant a few weeks ago, but with all the storms and wind and heavy rain that we've had, it's probably blew away most of the leaves. Right, a nice mist. So what I'll do is, there's the footbridge down there, and I'm also looking for a location near the Linney Dee where there's a lot of rock formations that could be quite a nice lean line. I've never actually photographed down by the river before, so this is a first for me. So let me get set up and I'll capture what I can here on this side while we've got the mist and the inversion up in the background. And when I do, I'll share those images with you now. So I've just come across the other side of the road, and then I'll just show you the view. So this is the view I have looking south, and as you can see, we've got quite a lot of low level mist, and then we'll try and catch that slither of sunrise in the sky there, although if I look up there, the hill's in danger of getting lit up quite a bit. So what I'll do is I'll take a few shots here and I'll see if I can make best use of getting the scene with the mist, and then when I do, I'll share those images with you. I've just managed to capture, I hope, an amazing sunrise over the trees over behind me. So I was concentrating so much on capturing these sunrise shots. I really hope they work. So if they have, I will share them with you. The sun's definitely away now by the clouds. The forecast this morning wasn't too much rain, but what I intend to do now is, I've never been underneath the bridge, so I'm going to walk along, I'm going to climb under the bridge, and let's see what images we can get there. Come back to the Garry Bridge car park, and now what you do is there's a series of stairs, and we just walk down to the bottom. Let's catch up down here. And as you can see, the view underneath the bridge, and this is where they do the famous bungee jumping, and that must be the step ladder up to walk along the platform to the bungee. And at the tip of my tripod there, that's the bungee platform that they use to jump off, rather them than me. Right, so let's walk down the path. I believe this path is known as the Linn of Tunnel path. There we go. Welcome to Linney Tunnel. So we've got red squirrels Oh, otters as well. Well, that will be interesting. I doubt we'll see any today. Right, and then we've got the pass of Killiecrankie, where we'll be shooting up towards. We're here at the bridge, heading down to that small footbridge, and yeah, let's see what we can find, because this place is steeped in history. I'll turn round so you can see the bridge as I'm walking, and there we are. This is formerly known as the Linn of Tummel, and let's hope we can get below that bridge somehow and get some nice shots. As I walk down there, there's a big rock in the river. This is the path to Killiecrankie, and this is the path way back to Pitlochry. So what I want to try and do is work my way down. It's quite steep, so what I'll do is I'll keep walking. I'll try and find my way down to the edge of the river, and if I do, I'll catch back with you at the edge of the river. As I've been climbing down, I've just found myself, if you can see that, there's obviously a flying fox run that's obviously closed for winter. Oh, there you go. There's the other end over there, and there's the rope, the zip line. So what I want to try and do is work my way down closer to the edge of the river, because what I want to try and do is use that big rock I saw for the path as a potential leading line, but also you can see all the foam swirling down. That could make a nice long exposure shot. Anyway, let's keep going and we'll catch up down at the bottom. Right, so I've got a wee composition here. I thought I'd stay behind this rock for a wee while and look for different compositions using that rock in the river as foreground interest, plus make best use of all the foam that's swirling round. So what I'm doing just now is I'm experimenting with shutter speed time, so I'm fluctuating between 1 second right up to 6 seconds just to see what types of effect I'm getting. The longer exposure as you would expect is giving me streaks, and then the other one's just giving me lines. But when I'm changing my shutter speed, I'm also changing my f-stop. I'm keeping my ISO at 100 and my f-stop's fluctuating between f8 and f16. But to compensate for the darkness here in the gully, I've got a polarizer filter on because I want the polarizer filter so I can take the sheen off the water. But equally I've had to put on an ND grad so that there's not a lot of cloud in the sky, but it's grey, but I don't want it to be white. So what I'm also doing is I'm concentrating really heavily on my Instagram, so that I'm just in for the right on my highlights and I'm just in for the left on my shadows. My histogram has just shown me I've got that exposure right in the middle where I need it, because if I want to bring up the shadows I can. The one thing I don't want to be able to do, or I won't be able to do, is if I lose the highlights I won't be able to recover them. So what I'll do is I'll keep taking more shot here. I'll flip the camera over to portrait and I'll see if I can get a portrait shot, and then what I'll do is I'll move further up, because this big mound a rock here with all the moss on it is really vibrant, and with a polarizer that could bring up the saturation of the colours, because it is still early and it's not going to be mega bright here today. It's just going to be heavy cloud, which is actually perfect for me when I'm photographing the water. So what I'll do is the images I take here, I'll share them with you now. Alright, so actually I went down to the edge because there was no point in filming, because I would never have had time to come back up and then turn that camera on and then go back down, because it's a wee bit slippy down there. So I was just being careful. I was being very careful. So what I'll do is the images I took from down there, I'll share those with you now. Alright, so now I'm up at a higher elevation. What I want to do is try and capture this big rock right in front of me. So I'm going to start off with some portrait shots. So I've got the whole half of my image with that big rock with the saturated greens and moss and kind of golden ochre leaves, because all the beech trees seem to have started to turn brown now instead of having that kind of green yellow then brown. So I'm obviously late. But what I also like is just above the bridge there's a mist, and I'm hoping to capture that atmosphere. And you know what I'm learning this morning is it's been pouring with rain for the last 2-3 days, and I thought, when I checked the weather app, there's no rain this morning. I thought I'll come out anyway, because I thought there is a chance I'll get a sunrise, which hopefully those images turned out and that sunrise worked. But when you're in a gorge and it's all dark and you've got mist, it's quite majestical and it's really, really nice, and it adds a lot of atmosphere to your images. So it actually pays just to get out, just go, because you never know what you're going to find. So what I'll do is I'll take 2 or 3 different compositions here. I'll do some landscapes, I'll do some portrait style images, and then I'll share those images with you now. I've finished these images. If I turn the camera around, what I'll do now is just work my way down this wee gully to the edge of that kind of rock formation and see if we can get closer to that rock and then shoot up the river. That's the plan. I'll catch you when we get to the base of that rock. I'm just enjoying the tranquil peace and quiet. It's actually quite amazing. So what I'm doing is I'm just zoomed in to the bridge. I've got the rock in the middle and I've got this foreground. I've reduced or increased my shutter speed to 1.6 of a second. I'm shooting at f11 and ISO 100 because I've got no foam in front of me. I've just got the streaks of the water coming down and I'm getting a really nice smooth streaky effect in front of me. But I've just noticed to my right hand side there's a whole bunch of foam that keeps swirling past me, but we'll pick up on that later on. It's quite amazing for one location. There's a huge amount of different compositions here. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the camera over to portrait and I'll get some portrait shots looking up, because we've still got that mist behind the bridge and it's really, really nice. Plus the other thing I'm doing is I'll take some wide shots of the rock in the foreground in front of me, because all the leaves I'll just burst into life with a polarizer and give me a really nice saturation. Although I'll need to be careful it doesn't go too oversaturated for the images. But anyway, I'll take the images here and I'll share those images with you now. Alright, so I've moved to the edge of this rock, and what I'm trying to do is just get a wee bit closer to the rock, but also get the bridge just in the top of my image, because the closer I get, the softer the background is with the mist behind that wee bridge. The challenge I've got here though is, no matter how I adjust my polarizer, because I've got a streaky light on the water in front of me, I'm getting a kind of white columny light in the foreground. So I'm trying to dull down, increase my aperture, speed up my shutter speed, but it doesn't seem to be working that well. However, that's how it looks in the back of the camera. It'll be different hopefully when I get home and I'll process the image. Right, so I'm going to take 2 or 3 different images here. A lot of them are close-ups, and then what I might do is a low-level shot, climb down till there's a little plinth in front of me, so that gets me right below the rock, and then see if I can get a kind of water level image from there. So once I've done all that, I'll share those images with you now. Alright, so I'm just shooting upriver and I'm going to try and catch the Garry Bridge, and what I'm trying to do is get on the left hand side. The only thing is I've got a cluster of, well, it's actually quite nice. So I've got the the streaming foam coming in from the bottom left of my image, I've got the bridge going across the top third, and then I've got all this rock in front of me with the brown leaves. That's actually quite nice. This is a wide angle shot, it's not, I'll try and do a panoramic shot. I don't think that's actually going to work. So when I'm not going to get the full vista of the bridge. But if I go to portrait, what I do have actually is a really nice foreground that's focused right in front of me, and I've got the bridge with some tall trees in the background and a slithery foam going through the middle. So it's more of a layered image with the foreground, the river, and then the bridge with the trees at the other side. There's some nice trees on this side, so what I might do is take some shots of some of the kind of rocks under the peaty brown water here and use that as a leading line up to the trees. So I'll give that a couple of shots, and then I'll have a wee look round, and then we'll see what else we can photograph. Alright, so we're in a really historical location where the Battle of Killiecrankie happened. But if I turn the camera around, I'll show you. So if you don't know, the Battle of Killiecrankie was fought between the Jacobites and the government troops at the time. The Jacobites were led by Graham of Claverhouse, who was nicknamed Bonnie Dundee. And there were many Highland Scots gathered by the clan chief Cameron of Lochiel. And the government troops were under the command of Highlander General Hugh Mackay of Skourie. Most government troops were actually Lowlander Scots. But the Jacobites surprisingly won the battle, despite them being outnumbered by about 1,500 soldiers. So it just goes to show that local knowledge of the Highland terrain has actually paid off. So here's a wee fun fact. Up here in Killiecrankie, allegedly the last wolf in Scotland was killed in 1680 near Killiecrankie, and it was by Sir Ewan Cameron of Lochiel, who went in to take part in the Battle of Killiecrankie in 1689. So a wee fun fact, there you go. We might at some point get wolves reintroduced into the Scottish landscape, but you never know. So the Garry Bridge. The Garry Bridge carries the B8019 over the River Garry, and we're actually just north of the Linney Tummel at the moment. It's an absolute cracking structure. It was built between 1967 and 1969, and we've obviously taken the path down the side of the gorge just to get underneath the bridge, just to see how impressive it actually is. But the bridge is about 20 metres in height above the river. So to put that in context, the bridge piers are as high as a 9 to 10 storey building, and it's carried across the gorge by 3 spans of steel girders supported by 2 pairs of piers. However, the bridge is not the first bridge to carry the road across the Garry. In 1698, when the Battle of Killiecrankie was fought, the crossing was made by a centuries-old ferry service. But it is believed that a bridge was constructed at around the same time that General Wade built his military road through the pass in the 1720s. And in 1833, a replacement bridge was constructed similar in style to one crossing the river at the village of Killiecrankie to the north. It is probably the stonework of this structure that survives below the footbridge on the east bank of the river. So the stone of the footbridge under the east bank of the river is over there. I don't know if we'll go that far, but we'll catch up soon. Right, so I don't want to tempt fate, so what we'll do is I'll move further along the trail and we'll see if we can catch anything, because I haven't actually been up to the footbridge. So we'll have a wee wander up to the footbridge and see if we can see anything, and I'll catch back with you then. So I'm back. I climbed the hill back up, so I've just come across the end of the Killiecrankie footbridge here. Big puddle. Just trying to work out what's the least messiest place to walk. Right, let me just navigate my feet. Alright, so we have a path that goes this side of the river, and we have the Killiecrankie footbridge. So if I go over just to see the view that we've got. Right, so that's the view north, and that's up towards Killiecrankie itself and up to the Soldiers' Leaping Stones. And this is the River Garry heading south, where we've just been, just over in that little rock over there. So it's actually really nice. So what I might do is get the camera out and take a shot, because that red tree stands out really nice. I think it's starting to get quite bright in the water, but what I'll do is I'll get set up and we'll have a shot. Right, so what I'll do is I'll start off with a landscape shot, and so a second f/16 ISO 100 seems to work for me. Right, what I want to do now is turn the camera over to portrait mode, because this will be a really nice portrait shot. And we've got the river coming down, and we've now got the mist underneath the bridge. But the beauty about this shot is it will also allow me to crop. So I can either crop in a landscape format or use the panoramic shot to crop a square format. And if these work out, I'll share these images with you now. Alright, so I've actually been taking a couple of shots this direction. I mean, it's not a brilliantly scenic view, but what is nice is the mist is coming round and following the river along. So I think I'll end the video here. Here's hoping we can make a video out of it. I hope we've got quite a lot of nice compositions, even though we were in the one area, quite a tough area to get to because it was so steep. Colours are stunning, even although we're near the end of autumn now and moving into winter. But I really hope this Killiecrankie Gorge and the Garry Bridge has kind of lived up to a wee bit of expectation. So if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that will let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks very much for watching, and here's to the next video.